So let's jump into Chapter 1, and you'll kind of see this theme throughout with the chapters, and we'll get into why we do that later. But Chapter 1 here is going to be about contents for leads, not just views. So I think although more of us would like to get more views on our content, increase that attendance, what we really have to consider first is what is our objective. Is it quality of leads or is it quantity of leads? And I don't think that's a new concept. But I think for the majority of you it is going to be quality of leads, as we kind of saw in that poll. So in this section we're going to touch on how to create content that's not just for the masses, but really for those prospects that matter to you, and the ways to keep that message going even after your webinar is over. So I'm sure that we've all seen a graphic of some sort outlining which type of content to use at different stages of the funnel or the buying cycle. But the point again that I really want to bring home here is that webinars I think are unique in the sense that we can really use them at any stage of the funnel to deliver a message. So we start with the topic, and what I want to think about here is your topic just a best practices presentation, or is it something that is super specific to the way that your audience, your prospect, is going to benefit in X process by using your product and making them better at their job? And really by the nature of what you're talking about, you can begin to determine where that prospect is in the funnel. And what you need to think about is really just giving them enough information in the presentation to set a hook and make a case for the challenge that they're facing that maybe they haven't even realized yet. And this hook is going to keep them coming back for more information from you, and continues to help you feed them the relevant information for where they are in the funnel. Another way to craft your messaging, I think, is determine the stage funnel that you want to target first, and then begin to craft your your topic around that, which I think is potentially what the majority of people are doing. Again, kind of creating that compelling hook for the message that highlights a challenge, and let your audience then self-select where they are in the funnel by offering them up chances to give you that relevant pain point, whether that's in the registration form off the bat, whether it's in poll questions that you've crafted, their chatted questions, survey questions, etc. So I do think that these two pieces here, the hook or the funnel stage, are interchangeable depending on how you want to craft your topic, but something to kind of keep in mind. Which is then going to help you, once you've determined where they are in the funnel, this is going to help you determine your follow-up. So making sure that you're utilizing the appropriate content and the call to action that's relevant to that stage. So you might start thinking, if this is a best practices presentation, very top of the funnel, the people are kind of looking for information. What do I want to give them in my follow-up to craft that message? Maybe it's something like an infographic. Easier to consume, maybe a little bit less information, giving them some pointers. If they're farther down the funnel, again, maybe you're using that webinar to push that message home, highlight a product, or maybe it's a testimonial then when you're really trying to seal the deal. So I want to bounce over to Eric, and he's going to give a specific example of how that they have used webinars in each stage of their funnel.
Yeah, I think webinars are often placed into either early or middle or late. We like to use them across all of our stages. So on the left-hand side, we can be very general. That's basically anyone that would ever be interested in content. When we get to the middle stage, it's anyone that would actually be interested in outsourcing content. And then very late stage is just for our own customers and just how to use our own services. And I think that this is definitely effective. The more specific you are to your title and your audience, you know exactly who they are. So on the left-hand side, it was definitely a very broad audience. It wasn't very targeted. So I think in the middle, we got probably our best leads from that webinar.
Awesome. And this is kind of a image that I pulled from HubSpot again to just kind of push this point home that I think webinars really are an equal opportunity form of content. They've got them here in the awareness and the evaluation stage, but to Eric's point, they've used them as far down as in the purchase phase as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I think another way to look at it is we all kind of break up our content in terms of buyer stage, which is absolutely the right thing to do. As a content company, our editorial calendar is always being managed months in advance, and we always have to think about what are we going to be creating next month. And I think an easy way to think about that is this pyramid of content that we that we kind of created last month. And at the base of it, you have your kind of evergreen content, your how-tos, your listicles, and you kind of need this content to kind of be there to engage and just join conversations. But at the very top, you have your thought leadership. So if you think about it as value at the top, that's going to take the most time to create. And so we have things like from our CEO writing analysis on the content industry or creating an infographic. But kind of when you come down there, that infographic can be divided up into long form or evergreen content. And then even just joining the conversation through your newsworthy and trend content, and that can be applied to webinars as well when you're thinking about inception of ideas and things like that. And then, again, I really want to bring home this point of just being very specific. The first webinar we ever did was how to plan your content for 2014. And I laugh at it because we actually created over 70 slides for this webinar, and we were trying to cover everything from setting goals to actually building the calendar to creating the content and promoting and budgeting and analyzing everything. And it was such a broad topic that it was just hard to even dive into anything very specifically. So be as specific as possible. Have a shorter webinar, I think, in the future, and that way you know exactly why people are signing up for your webinar. And then the last thing that I would love to communicate is just make sure everyone in your company knows what webinars are coming up. I think it's very easy for a marketing department to kind of keep all of our own marketing within ourselves and just kind of we know what's going on, but making sure that you're sending maybe a weekly newsletter to your own sales team or just at a team lunch or at a meeting. We had a webinar coming up about promoting content with Taboola, and we had a lead that our sales department was talking to, and they just mentioned that they could join this webinar. It's a really, really good kind of validation tactic for them, and actually, we started a trial with that lead, and we continue to kind of update our sales department on that.